stripped of his degree, and he should no longer be part of the Bar Council. Coming to the Labour leader, it was, of course, very disappointing that the occupation of Kashmir will also end. It is inevitable. We must remember the Conservatives are the party in power. So it is not just about...
Thank you very much. Today we will speak about current situation in Indian occupied Kashmir, and I have online with me British-born Muzzmmail Thakur, who is the president of World Freedom Kashmir Movement, who is also a son of a famous Kashmiri leader, Ayub Thakur Sahab, late. Assalamu alaikum, Muzzmmail.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much coming in my show. Muzzmmail, what is the current situation in occupied Kashmir right now?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. At the moment, while the international world is worried about the coronavirus, in occupied Kashmir, we're still worried about the occupational forces. To date, more people have been killed by Indian Army forces in Kashmir since the coronavirus outbreak than people have died from the coronavirus. Now, that means inside Kashmir, more people are dying due to the cancer of occupation than they are dying from the disease of COVID-19. That is the reality. And current situation is that recently we have had one of Hizbul Mujahideen's commanders, Riaz Neku, who was murdered, who was martyred. And after that, we saw the situation inside Kashmir become so volatile. People forgot about the coronavirus. People forgot about social distancing. They were more concerned about safeguarding their loved ones. We had more people that were martyred. We had more than 50 people that were injured. And recently in Budgam, an entire village was thrashed and smashed to pieces just because of one police officer's irritation. Now, occupation continues. The internet communication and all other media blackouts still continue. It is very difficult to get information out. But we still maintain a pulse on the ground. We maintain the information, whatever is coming out, we try and share that. So in that sense, nothing really has changed for the people of Kashmir. What has changed is the fact that the international world is more concerned about their own well-being, and they're comparing the lockdowns in their countries to other lockdowns around the world. And I don't think there is a comparison of the lockdowns that happen in the West and the lockdown that happens in Kashmir. So that is a very false comparison. It is nothing. This is an optional lockdown. That is an enforced lockdown. The lockdowns here, you still have food, you have medicine, you have information, you have technology, you have the internet. In Kashmir, you have none of these things. And you are more likely to die from a bullet than you are from the coronavirus in Kashmir. That is the reality of the ground.
What can be done, Muzzmmail, if I may ask, move forward from here now?
The thing is that during times like this, in a lockdown where things are quiet, this gives people an opportunity not only to reflect, but to create a new strategy, to analyze what mistakes have been made in the past. And if they have been effective, if any plans in the past have been effective, if they haven't, then you regroup, you re-strategize, you plan again, and you think of innovative ways to move forward. It isn't enough to say that the COVID-19 is around, there is a lockdown, and we can't do any work. We can do a lot of work. It's just that that work may not necessarily be something you can publicize on TV or radio or on social media. Not every kind of work needs to be publicized. That is something that we need to remember. A lot of the work that can be done very quietly. And in my opinion, this is the time where we regroup, we analyze, and we restructure, and we create a new strategy to move forward, to figure out what we can do next.
But you are a young man, like British-born, who can speak. Tell to the youth who are listening you, or they will listen your program, what need to be done really, what they can contribute.
Look, the youth can contribute easily to tomorrow's political landscape. It's these youths now that have the vote power, these youth that have the financial future potential. The potential is there. So in the next 10, 15, 20 years, these people are going to be people of importance, people of power, people of finance, people of influence. And these are the kind of people that we need to influence now, to get them onto the side of Kashmir, make them understand what the situation of Kashmir is, keep it ingrained in their DNA, so that tomorrow when they grow up and when they become people of influence and they become contributors to society, that they can contribute towards Kashmir as well. But it is the role of the youth is very, very dependent on our elders. And I'll tell you why. If our elders do not accommodate and create space for the next generation, that generation is not only going to ignore our elders, they are also going to ignore the cause of Kashmir, and the cause of Kashmir is going to die with the elders. So unless there is a platform, there is space created for the next generation to innovate, to be part of this movement, the movement will not succeed and it will not move forward.
How can we involve the youth in our Kashmiri diaspora here in UK or Europe or anywhere else? And women as well.
Let's split it into two categories, the Indian occupied Kashmiris and the people from Pakistan and Azad Kashmir communities. Indian occupied Kashmiris have that fear because their families are directly in Kashmir and they travel to Kashmir, that if they rise up and they try to do any activism, then the Indian government can either impound their passport or disappear their family members, as has happened with mine. So let's leave that to the side for a little bit. But when we have a larger community of Azad Kashmiris and Pakistanis, we need to be able to engage with these people. And the problem is that who is engaging them? A person that is of 60, 70 years of age is not going to be able to speak the same language as that person who is 17 or 18 years old. So there is a generational gap. So we need to fill that gap with different people that understand the new landscape and can foresee what is going to happen on the same landscape in the future. Otherwise, we're going to lose that generation. We're going to lose the youth. We're going to lose the women. And then they're going to call the cause of Kashmir either a patriarchal cause or they're going to call it a non-inclusive cause. And that is not what this is, because everybody in Kashmir is suffering equally. And some people are suffering worse than others, but ultimately everybody suffers. So we must include all people from the diaspora, engage them and put them on the same platform. It isn't enough to make them token panelists. You cannot keep somebody as a token player. You must engage them and you must keep them and make them as equal as you are when it comes to the activities that you perform for the people of Kashmir.
So you're telling the youth has got a vital role to play, but they need a space. They need to accommodate. They need to give them their role. But that is not the case, as you mentioned about Azad Kashmiris living in the UK or Pakistani living in the UK. When we say in mosque, the mosque committees are not run by the youth. Tell me one more thing. That what was your initial response to the Labour leader's statement here in the UK, while saying that Kashmir isn't the international case, it is just bilateral case between India and Pakistan. So what was your initial stage response about this?
Let me take a step back and just mention one more thing about the youth. The issue with the youth is that they may be competent, and we have so many youths that work on the Palestinian issue, on the Rohingya issue, on the Iraq issue, on the Afghanistan issue. But when it comes to Kashmir issue, they stay away. And that is because their elders have taken hold of that situation and they don't allow the accommodation, whereas our elders are not as engaged with the Afghan, the Palestinian, the Iraqi, the Syrian, and all these other issues. They're not engaged with that. So our youths are pushed aside or they're discouraged because of this. Coming to the Labour leader, it was, of course, very disappointing that he succumbed to the Hindu group's pressure. However, most people have taken offense to the fact that he has talked about Kashmir being a bilateral issue, that this is where the issue lies. My issue is slightly more off on a tangent. My issue is the fact that he decided that this issue of Kashmir is about human rights, and they were not talking about the right of self-determination. They were not talking about the United Nations resolutions. Sir Keir Starmer, is a barrister. He is a qualified Queen's Counsel, QC. He is a very learned and literate person. The fact that he had no idea about the United Nations resolutions, or he did not even reflect upon it, is a shame for him. He mentioned that Kashmir is an internal matter of India. While people were talking about it is not a bilateral issue, it is not between India and Pakistan, this is your ego talking. You have to understand the language that is being used. He said that whatever happened in Kashmir regarding Article 370 and 35A, he said it was an internal matter for the Indian courts. This is illegal. His statement in itself as a lawyer is misleading. He should be stripped of his degree, and he should no longer be part of the Bar Council. He is not an illiterate person. Therefore, before he speaks, he must learn. He must be educated about the issues of Kashmir, the United Nations resolutions, international law. He must also be aware about Genocide Watch, what they mentioned about Kashmir, and they issued a genocide alert about Kashmir. So when he says that this is an internal issue, and yet we want to talk about human rights, these are two completely separate issues. While people were sending memorandums and they were writing letters to Keir Starmer, I thought it is not as efficient, because I don't think that he's going to come under that much pressure by individuals. I contacted the largest Muslim organizations in the United Kingdom, Muslim Council of Britain, FOSIS, Muslim Association of Britain. I put some pressure on these committees to put pressure on Keir Starmer. Now, these organizations should represent us. They should represent the Muslims. As individuals, we should do our part, but we should lobby those people that claim to represent us. If they represent us, it is their responsibility to pressure the government and the opposition to give that true representation. So I targeted those people. 3 days later, alhamdulillah, they issued a press release. We're working on a few other aspects of which ways that we can create pressure, but it is not just on the Labour Party. We have to remember there are other parties. There is the Green Party, and they have taken a decent stand regarding Kashmir. We also need to look at the Liberal Democrats as well as the Conservatives. We must remember the Conservatives are the party in power. So it is not just about the opposition that we must pressure. Labour has been a traditional vote bank for the Muslims and for the Azad Kashmiri and Kashmiri and Pakistani communities. Let's not forget that the Conservatives are in power. They will be in power for the next 5 years. Let's focus on them as well.
What will be the solution? And will it be ever end the occupation from Indian forces in occupied Kashmir, and they will get freedom?
Very shortly, when all other occupations have ended, the occupation of Kashmir will also end. It is inevitable. Nothing lasts forever. When we remember Rwanda, we remember the Holocaust, we remember Srebrenica, we remember all of these other conflicts and issues around the world. They all ended, and people said never again. Inshallah, the issue of Kashmir will also be resolved. No occupation lasts, and the people's resistance will always be maintained, and we will always resist till the very end.
What are you going to do to revive your World Kashmir Freedom Movement, the party again, and to accommodate more youth in it and more proactive, to make it more proactive party?
We've been working mostly with people inside Kashmir, doing research and exposing various different crimes and internal matters of whatever is happening inside Kashmir, as well as those people that are being sponsored by India outside of Kashmir. So some of the work that we've done has not been published or publicized. We don't aspire for publicity. What we aspire for is getting the work done. But inshallah, we have a few public projects that we'll be releasing very, very soon. And hopefully we'll be engaging the youth more actively and getting them involved in various different projects, not just to expose India, but to create pressure on those that represent us in the United Kingdom to represent us to the best of their abilities.
Where will be the resources will come?
The resources will always have to start from home. If you do not take money from your own pocket, if you do not spend from your own pocket, you cannot expect somebody else is going to pay for you. So we work, the way that we've worked, the way that I have been working for the last 10, 15 years, particularly the last 4 or 5 years, has always been self-sufficient. Create your own self-sufficiency fund, depend on yourself, depend on your Allah, and that should be more than enough. Then people will come to you. When there are larger projects, there are so many different ways of fundraising for projects. And most of the work that is required nowadays doesn't even require funding. Since the 5th of August, so much work has been done that has all been done online, the most efficient ways. Where was the funding required then? If there is funding required, we will go to crowdfunders. We will take money from our own pockets, from our own families. We'll sell our cars, whatever is needed, whatever is required at that time. But at this point in time, big money is not necessary. Big money is absolutely not necessary.
Do you have a team?
Alhamdulillah, yes, we have a team. We have a very small core team of people that we do, what do you say in Urdu, mashwara, consultations. And then we implement certain projects. Not everybody is on the front because a lot of people are afraid that if their names come out into the front, then they may be arrested when they go home. But the small teams that we have in the UK are effective and efficient. They are behind us. In fact, I was talking to them yesterday and they were reminding me that to keep their identities private. We also have people inside Kashmir, in Indian occupied Kashmir, that feed us information nearly every other day to expose the war crimes that are happening inside Kashmir. But the team, whatever team exists, no team can ever, or team building can never end. The team must always grow. Membership must always grow. We must involve other people. this movement, this organization, the Kashmir cause does not belong to one Muzzmmail Thakur. It does not belong to one Sheraz Saab. It belongs to every single one of us. So we need to accommodate and acclimatize ourselves with other people's opinions. I do not want to be like those people before me that cut me out or cut my generation out, and I cannot do that to the next generation as well. So inshallah, I hope to learn from our elders. I hope to learn from the mistakes as well as their successes, and then impart that wisdom to the next generation of activists, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Muzzmmail Thakur. Here is the young, dynamic, British-born, a leader who is also a president of World Kashmir Freedom Movement, and inspiring personality, full of passion, full of energy, full of wisdom, and we hope that you will be supported, and
Inshallah.
you will
Thank
be, you will, the work you are doing. May Allah reward you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you.